All right. Week before we started with BPM, and I think we have done. We have completed the first chapter, right? So, and today we are going to start with our first practical session. And even though university won't held the practical sessions online, I was given a timetable slot for that, so that I have to do it. Let's try to do it as as productive as possible. I will try my best to do so. So, do you is that visible my screen for you all now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can read it, huh? Great. So, since you people have done the theory lesson, what do you mean by first? First of all, I would ask the question, right? So, what do you mean by process? So, last time, last few weeks, actually, we defined it. What does it mean? Because from now onwards, we all the time we take things in terms of a process line, right? So that to start the practical session, of course, obviously we have to identify what does it mean by a process. So what do you mean by a process? Anyone? Last time we defined it.
Set of sequential activities that we perform to achieve something at the end.
Okay, very good. Right. We defined it by saying a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end, right? So when it comes to process, there must be a purpose, is it? Right? Because we want to achieve something at the end of that process. There must be a purpose of that process. Then again, uh, so we can identify them what are the main tasks in that process, right? When does this process taken place? Why does this process take place? Who is involved, and what triggers of this process? So these are the some of the characteristics. Of course, if we can analyze, if we can very closely look at this process, we can identify all these components are there, right? So having said that, why these process? So the through all around us we find processes, right? Even when you go to a kitchen and start off preparing a cup of tea, that is a process, right? So when you come to university and your recruitment process as a student, there is a process. So when you are supposed to sit for an exam, in examination is again a process for the university. So that we in our day-to-day life, everywhere we find processes, right? As you have mentioned earlier, so process is a series of series of actions, or rather sequential actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end, right? So there are many different activities or the sequential activities uh, targeting end result at the end of that process line, right? So here in this practical session, what we are trying to do is we take these various processes which you find in organizations, and we try to improve these processes, right, throughout our practical session. So why process improvement is needed? If someone asks you why process improvement is needed, how you can answer that question? Yes, anyone? You can text even. It doesn't matter. You can put the answers on the chat. Why process improvement is needed? Anyone? Okay, very good. One answer comes from Tilini. To be more productive. So that means with minimum amount of resources, we want to have a maximum outcome, right? Just improving the processes, of course, you can achieve that. Very good, Tilly. Then Judith says, in order to make sure that the purpose will be achieved efficiently, right? You know that in management, we all the time heard the terms like efficiency and effectiveness. So that in order to achieve these both ends, obviously, we need to do the process improvement. Again, deliver best to the customers, Lakshana said, right? That is again very important, because any business activity we perform targeting our end consumers, right? So that customers are all the time expecting the best result, best attention, or the best products and services from us. But at the end, we say we need to delight the customers nowadays, right? It is not about satisfying the customers, but of course, we need to delight our customers. For that end, again, the process improvement is very important, because at a minimum amount of time, we need to serve our customers. For that, process improvement is something very important. And again, Lakshana further added that some students said they are waiting to, I'm sorry. Yeah. Wait just a minute. They are late comers, huh? All right. Thank you, Lakshana, for the passing the message. Okay, I hope that, yeah. Great. Right. Okay, so that here we were talking about the process improvement, right? So that even so, the most of the organizations think of improving their processes, right? So when we closely look at these, what to call that, carrying out their businesses, we may find, right? We may see, we may experience certain bottlenecks, right? So that so for example, if I take one examples like why sometimes when you visit certain organization, they make you to be in a queue, right? So that is obviously a very noticeable fact that they are not performing their process in a more productive manner. So if you, when you visit an organization, if you are being in a queue, that means they are not efficiently handling that process, right? So here we say we all experience queues waiting for resources to service our needs or requests. So that's why, that's the main reason for us to be in the queue, right? Waiting for resources to service or service our needs and requests, right? It may be here we have the common examples, right? They have given here, they say telephone queues, your number X to be serviced, holding time estimated to be 5 minutes. So sometimes when you are dialing a number, you may experience that, you may heard this kind of a voice recording, or that kind of a recording, like, right, telling you you are having this number, and in order to service you, it will take this number of minutes, like. So that means you are keeping in a telephone queue. So then line queues we find in banks, withdrawals, right? In banks, ticket take-in at events, and board in an airplane, more eminent one, right? Toll booth queues, right? So these are the instances for line queues, right? In most of the time in Sri Lanka, we find these queues, right? This kind of line queues in order to get our service done, right? And again, online service queues on the other hand, right? So we find 404 errors, try again later, click next, right? Messages like sometimes pop-up messages like that. So that means you are in a queue again, right? Because the service is slow. So these responses pop up in order to keep you in waiting, right? So then again, uh, let's check whether there are some other students. All right. So that and again to reducing variability in service timing, assigning more capacity or service task change in the queues discipline. How we can improve this kind of a waiting of customers? How we can eliminate these queues? So that is by improving our processes, right? Okay, so that if you take for example, right, let's take one sorry, yeah, for example, here it's I mean before you take in a flight, you have to be in a cave. It's a board in order before you boarding to a aeroplane, right, or a flight. So you have to be in a queue like this because they open up the gate in a, certain time. So in that time frame, maybe 10-15 minutes, right? So in that time, so in order to reduce this queue, what airlines have taken was, right, what measure they have taken was, they have sometimes introduced some separate a special channel for VIP uh, I mean the passengers, like, right? So that without going through these queues, they straight away board the flight and they do travel, right? So that is for VIPs. So that's a one measure airlines have taken, right? This is in a supermarket, right? How a supermarket eliminate this kind of a queue? But any supermarket you visit in Sri Lanka, you find this kind of a queue, right? How we can reduce the number? Oh, I know that it is not difficult. It is not possible to eliminate this kind of a queue, but of course we can minimize the number. So for that, of course, we have to improve the process side. Instead of having one single queue, what we can do? We can have more than one cashier, right? We can keep more than one cashier. That means the lesser time in a queue for a customer. Or otherwise, in sometimes when you go to Europe, in a supermarket like that, they have arranged self-checkout systems. So you can fetch the goods, right, in a trolley, and you can straight away, without going through this kind of queue, you can straight away go to a self-checkout system, and you can get the final bill done there. So that is the best way, right? Because they have improved that payment process by having this self-checkout system, right? That is another way. So they adapted the technology, right? The computers and the software or the information systems are placed in there, and whoever the customer likes to go through the self-checkout system, he or she can take that path, right? So that they have improved their process by doing so, right? And if you take look at this kind of a system, so uh, what kind of organization is this one? Anyone? What kind of organization is this? Yes. You hear me? I hope I am audible, right? So what kind of a place is this one? Hello? Anyone? So I will ask one by one then. Yes, Savindi? Savindi, are you there? Hello? Then Achini?
It's a restaurant or hotel
Okay,
industry.
very good. This is a restaurant, right? Great. This is a restaurant. So this is a in this picture, you see a traditional restaurant process, right? How do we do when you want to dine in? We visit a place like this, and we have our meals there, right? So this is traditionally, this is how restaurant is organized, right? But let's say that if they have uh, uh, I mean quite extraordinary numbers as clients, right? So big numbers. So if they don't have seating capacity to arrange all these people at a given time, so that definitely they have to keep their customers in the queue line, right? Before offering the service line. So in this kind of a situation, how restaurant can improve their process? So let's say that this restaurant is having only 50 seating capacity, right? 50 seats in tables, right? So that means, uh, right? So that if they get 100 clients at a evening or a daytime, how they can cater these 100 guests at a given single time? They can't, right? So that means they can take the first 50, and after they finish their meal, the rest of the people, another 50 people, have to wait in a queue line. That's not good, huh? No one would expecting that kind of a service. But in order to improve this whole process, what restaurant can do is, so they can um, ask their customers, right? So you can have a prior booking with us, right? I'm giving them a hotline number saying that, okay, if you wish to dine with us, please call this number and make an appointment, right? Once they make an appointment, they can be given a time slot. Let's say, okay, 25 minutes for these clients, right? So they once they reach that given time, and they can be straight away seated, then they have their meal and go, right? So that kind of arrangement, that is a process improvement, right? Restaurant can adapt. So that means they can deviate these time slots to different clients, and they can cater, right? So by doing so, they can reduce the bottleneck faced by the customers, like, right? So all right. So that if you think of this kind of process, right? Let's take the one we were talking, this restaurant. So that you probably would have heard the term stakeholder. Do you? What do you mean by stakeholder? Yes, anyone?
Interested parties.
Okay. Very good. But I would rather say the people who involved, right? Not interested, but people who involve this process we call stakeholders, right? In a restaurant process, the people who get involved in that particular process we call as stakeholders. Any process, right? Not in a restaurant process, any process you name it. And the people who get involved in that process we call stakeholders, right? For example, in this particular process, we have these parties who involved, right? We have cooks, we have what to call that, waiters, right? We have owners and managers, we have a kitchen staff, right? So these are the people who involved in that restaurant process to offer the service to our client, right? Our customers. So we term them as stakeholders, right? So that any process you name, the people who involved in that process we call stakeholders. So that is very important for us to identify the stakeholders in a process, right? So that is quite important for us to identify who are the stakeholders of that process, right? And okay, then once you identify these stakeholders, right, we have to identify what are their objectives, right? I will if I take the restaurant process, the owner, what is the owner's objective? Yes, anyone? What is the owner's objective? What do you
Maximizing
think?
profit and reducing the cost of the.
Okay, very good. Improving the profit all the time, right? Reducing the cost and improving the profit would be the prime objective of the owners, right? So how about the employees? Yes, how about the employees?
They're expecting a salary or the increase in the increment and job security.
Okay, very good. So as far as the employees are concerned, so they are all the time consider more salaries, right? More benefits or the perks. So they are expecting from the employer, right? So likewise, so these different stakeholders in a process have different objectives, right? So that in process improvement, we need to identify these different motives or the objectives of the stakeholders as well, right? So that is yet again another very important aspect of process improvement, right? And yeah, and if I take for example, so yeah, so customers are again important stakeholder in our business. So what do you think? What is the customer's objectives in that whole process? What do you think? What they are expecting from us, our customers?
They need a quality and tasty food at an affordable price.
Okay, very good. So that they, as far as customers are concerned, they are expecting best service from us. As he said, in a restaurant, they need a very quality, tasty foods at a affordable prices, right? So that is their objective. So likewise, so these different stakeholders are having different objectives, so that we have to identify the yes, there are some more students, right? Just give me 1 minute. Right. So that these different, the stakeholders are having different objectives. So we need to identify their objectives as well, right? And all right. So as I told you earlier, right, we are going to look at things in process perspective from now onwards, right? In a typical restaurant, right, modern day restaurant. So this would be the this would be an example for that, right? So in that in this process, you find so many different activities, right? So initially we discussed that process is a sequential related activities targeting end result, like, right? So here in this process, what is the end result? Satisfied customer, right? So that in order to achieve that end, we have so many different activities in this restaurant process, right? If we take the first one, right, staff takes orders from the customer. The process start from that particular event. In a process, the start event we call triggering event. That triggers, right? That is a starting point of it, right? We call it triggering event. That's the start of this whole process. So what would be the triggering event for a customer? They feel hungry, right? That's the triggering event. So then they go to a restaurant and ask for food, right? So the staff takes the orders from the customer. Then most of the time, the modern day restaurant, so they don't have any more manual handling stuff, right? They have electronically handling their orders. Here they say order is routed wirelessly to a kitchen. So most probably this waiter take order and input this information to a tab or any kind of a device which he is having, and that is routed wirelessly to the kitchen, right? So that kitchen staff, they probably would have this displays in place or the monitor, whatever, and kitchen prepare based on that order. Kitchen prepares the order on the display, right? So that then third activity here, the dish is ready to be served, right? This is ready. Then the waiter is called by the system to collect the dish. So once it is ready, the waiter is asked to come and fetch it up, and then waiter picks it up from the kitchen and dish is served to the customer, right? Then the customer consumes the food. Customer calls for attention, right? And the waiter arrives. The customer asks for the bill. The waiter uses a tablet to display the bill on the spot, right? Then and there. And the customer uses a credit card. The waiter swipes the card on the tablet and print the receipt on the portable printer. And the customer gets a copy of the invoice and leaves the restaurant, like. So these are the different activities in that restaurant process. So these activities, so there is a one common thing I identified. What is the common thing you identify in this restaurant process? So in these activities, you find what? Active verbs, right? So here you say staff takes orders, order is routed wirelessly to the kitchen, kitchen prepares the order, the dish is ready to be served, right? All these are active verbs involved. So in the process, when we are writing the process, so these activities obviously we have to write as a active verbs, like, right? So that is the one common accepted way of doing it, right? All right. So that in this practical sessions, right? So we, in order to model these processes, we call it model in the process, right? So once we identify a process, we try to model it, right? So in order to model these processes, right, we use something called notations, right? Here we say business process modeling notations is a graphical notation that describes the logic of steps in a business process. So earlier, right, you have seen these activity, right? So here we have graphical representation, that's not the graphical, the pictorial representation of different activities taken place in that process line, right? So that instead of pictures, what we can do is we can use the notation, right? So that means they are graphical notations to describe the logic of steps in that process, right? So that we, instead of these pictures, we can use these graphical notations to represent a process line, right? So these notations has been specially designed to coordinate the sequence of processes and messages that flow between participants in different activities, right? So we discuss about the process stakeholders, or here they called it process participants, and there are different activities in a process like so, and again there are sequence of processes and messages, flow of processes and the messages. In order to represent these processes of processes and messages and the participants and the different activities, we can use these BPMN notations or the graphical notations to describe this logic in the steps in the business process, right? So why it is important to model with BPMN, business process management notation? Why we have this common standard called BPMN? Anyone? Why we have this common standard? Because everyone can understand, right? So once we stick with the common standard like BPM notation, the people who know the notations can understand what does it mean by these representations, right? So here we say BPMN is an internationally accepted process modeling standard, right? So people who know these standards, they can identify what represented by these notations, right? So irrespective of your geographical, whether you are in Sri Lanka or America or England or Australia, if you know the BPMN, that process, that model process, obviously you will understand, right? You can read it. Then BPM is independent and any process modeling methodology. So this is independent from any of the methodology of modeling, right? This is a common standard of notations, right? So that is, I mean, there may be so many different methodologies, but nothing to do with, I mean, there is no real involvement with them, right? This is a independent notation, right? They have nothing to do with these different modeling methodology. Then BPMN creates standardized bridge between, reduces the gap between business process and implementation, right? Implementation is something different from these standard representation of process, right? So you can map it by having these BPMN notations, but implementation is something else, right? Then BPMN enables you to model processes in a unified and standardized way that everyone of an organization can understand each other. So that once you've done using the BPMN, people who knows the BPMN can read it, they can identify it, right? They can understand, right? Throughout the organization, right? These are the some of the more important factors related with BPMN, right? So here, in this practical session, we use software called Visagi Modeler, right? Do you read my screen? Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is the interface of Visagi, right? It's pretty much similar with what we are very familiar, Microsoft Office, right? So that if you go to www.visagi.com, right, website, you have a liberty to download Visagi Modular free of charge, right? So without paying any money. So that made me to select this tool for us to do the modeling. You can download it without any cost, and you can install it in your local machine, and you can do the practicals, right? So, but for the Visagi Studio and automation server, of course, you have to pay. But the modeling part, obviously, we can do it without paying any money, right? So you can please go to the visagi.com site and install Visagi Modular, right? That is free. That comes free, right? And here the when you are what to call that downloading, there are 3 steps, right? You have to create the user account and download the Visagi Modular, and from that onwards you can start mapping your processes, right? So that this is how we do. And there are very user friendly user guides are there, right? From installation to the working with the Visagi, there are so much of information available. And again, there are so many materials available in what you call that YouTube as well. So very helpful learning materials are there. We can very easily use the Visagi, right? So this is the software we use for the practicals, right? So that Visagi Modular has very simple, easy and intuitive interface, just like the Microsoft Office we are used to. It has 5 main elements, namely toolbars, right? Ribbon, palette, element, properties, and view, right? Just like in what you call that Microsoft Office. We have this toolbar, ribbon, palette, element, properties, and view, right? What happens, right? These menu bars, right? These ribbons, these palettes, right, are there for us to use, right? Then when it comes to these BPM notations, right? These are the components you find, right? What are these different components you find? Yes. If you take, for example, I will, if you take the first one we take is the start event, right? So I told you earlier, the start event is the trigger end event of any process, right? Here they say the start event indicates where a particular process will start, right? That's the starting point of the process. It, in terms of sequence flow, the start event starts the flow of the process, and thus will not have any incoming sequence from. No sequence flow can connect to the start event. So that any process obviously start with start event. It's a matter of drag it and drop it. Drag and drop, right? Let's say something like this, right? So that you can name your start date. Then we have different activities, right? Task 1, right? Different task, right? Let's say make order. Right? So you can drag and drop any of the elements you find on your collection of pools there, right? So that it's a matter of clicking your cursor and pick any of the objects available and drag and drop it. Very easy and friendly way of handling stuff, right? So that if we take, for example, the next one, we have the task, right? Task is an atomic activity that is included within the process. So earlier we have seen in the restaurant process, so tasks are represented by these active verbs, right? So that task is an atomic activity that includes within the process. A task is used when the work in the process is not broken, right? And generally end user and an application are used to perform the task. So the people who involved in this process obviously perform these different task line, right? Then again, we have something called events, right? Tasks are basically performed by the stakeholders, and when it comes to the events indicate where something happens, right? When something happens in that process, we have these events in place. Then we have something called gateways, right? Gateways control divergence or convergence, right, of sequence flow. Whether it is sometimes we have to combine these different flows. For that, obviously we use a gateway. Yeah, in other cases we may have diverge. We need to divide it into different ways. For the both ways, both ends, we use a gateway. Here we say exclusive gateway or decisions are locations within the business process where the sequence flow can be take two or more alternative path. Exclusive gateway is basically with the right. You people have to stop the videos, right? I don't know, right? That is with gateway. So when you go to details of these what you call that objects, you find these different combination of objects, right? So for example, if you take this start event, so we have non-start, time start, right, message start, single starts, etc., right? So they have different meanings and different objects in place, right, for us to use in our processes, right? So you people have to go through this, right? So here again, when it comes to different tasks, there are so many different objects available, right? So you better take one by one and have a look, right? I'm not going into details of all this, right? So then we have gateways. So we talk about the exclusive gateway, this one, right? So the exclusive gateway are the most common used type of gateways. The set of gates database exclusive decision is based on the balloons expression containing, so that if you have the what you call that yeah if you take this parallel gateway, right? So parallel gateways provide a mechanism to synchronize the parallel flow and create parallel flow, right? If you want to inclusive gateway for convergence, so the task can be executed in a parallel, right? Again, convergent point. So you can combine by using the parallel gateways, or if you use inclusive gateway for that matter, right? Oops. Yeah. This inclusive gateway, this decision represent a branching points where alternatives are based on decision expression contained within outgoing sequence flow. Here we get inclusive gateway for convergence. Parallel gateway indicates tasks can be executed in parallel, right? Or convergent points like, right? So anyway, when it comes to the gateways, basically we can say as a control diagram, right? Divergence or convergence of sequence flows. For that, obviously, we use gateways, right? And yeah, let's say let's put yeah, that's how. Right, so that if you right click write any of these objects, so what happens is you can change the gateway type, right, without any hesitation. You can change it, or you can show the marker, right? And again, right, so one right, so right clicking, you can change the what you call the properties of the object you have on the process line, right? That can be done, right? So that right. Okay, so again we have something called sequence flow, right? A sequence flow is used to show the order that activities will be performed in a process, right? Here, so we use this kind of sequence flows to represent from where to where these process activities are performed, right? Where these where that occurs, like, right? And again, the information message flows to indicate the what sort of a information flow is there, like, right? Message flow. So here with this one, right? So we called it pools, right? We call it a pool, right? And yeah, pool represent different organizations, so entirely separate processes, right? By having this kind of a pool, right? Say, I just take it, right? So I just did for you to give an indication, right? So that in order to represent a process, the first thing we do is what? We accommodate the pool. So when it comes to a pool, so this is the object I have selected, right? I just drag and drop it, right? It's a matter of, right? So any number of pools that you can represent in your process, right? So so when it comes to pools, we say that represent different organizational or entirely separate process. Maybe an organization process, right? Or maybe different processes by entirely different processes within the organization, like process X, process Y, like, or otherwise process of this particular department, like, right? So how we can change the process name here? Let's say, okay, I would say Acme Institute, right? Great. So that is what we do. So once you start the process, we name the process, right? Because it is important for us to identify what kind of a process that would be. So in this case, what happened? This is the process of Acme Institute, right? So we'll take the triggering event or a start event. So I just drag it and drop, right? I can name it, right? Order received, order received, right? Okay. Then I can have my first activity in this Acme Institute, right? Find the item in the warehouse, right? Then there will be another task in Node, right? We can say shipment, right? Then we have end event, that is in red color. We can say order shipped, right? Something like this one. This is for an organization. We call it Acme Institute process, right? So now what I wanted you to do is that I will give you 10-15 minutes break. So please go to this Bisagi website, right? And how many of you have already downloaded and installed it, Bisagi? Anyone? Hello, do you hear me? Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, and what I wanted you to do is go to Bisagi website and get installed Bisagi Modeler, right? So then what we can do is parallelly, we can try out these different, the options we have in our practical component, right? Can you install it? So I will give you, now it is 11 o'clock, right? I will give you how many minutes you want? 20 minutes. So shall we meet again 11:20? So by that time, you people should have installed Bisagi in your local machine, right? Is that okay? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So you better install first, then we will try out. And once you install, you better do this Acme Institute process, right? Try to represent it. So we'll do it for today. We will do this one, right? And yeah, I will give you 20 minutes. Now it is 11 o'clock. 11:20 we'll meet again. And by the time 11:20, you should have installed your Bisagi in your machine and start off doing this Acme Institute process, right? We'll meet again 11:20. Okay, great.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
When,
yes,
when
yes.
we are trying to register, so it's asking some company details and all.
Uh,
So can we use some hypothetical details and
No
go ahead?
problem, no problem. Or else, try whether you can use SJP student something.
Okay, sir.
So that will be useful because they will, because you're a student of University of Srinagar, as a profession, you better mention academic or student or whatever option available there.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
okay, okay.